I'm Jessica Usamore. I'm the CEO and founder of THEKÜR, and this is our part two of our breast cancer awareness series. I'm so excited for this series because I think there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lack of conversation about breast cancer and people of color. So I really wanted to bring this conversation to the forefront, especially in the Middle East, where I currently reside, where THEKÜR is being established, and kind of have this conversation in our community, our little community that's growing. The first part was really, really amazing. We had Dr. Megha Gupta, and she brought to light a lot of information based off of science and, you know, the medical space. Today, I wanted to meet with another amazing human being and get a little bit more personal. So I am bringing up Jalila Jones, who is a health and fitness professional, but she's also a breast cancer survivor, or as she would like to call herself, a warrior. On that note, let's get started.
Excuse me, miss. You forgot to say not only is she this, but she's also my friend.
Oh, she's my friend or whatever.
Like, what? How you missed that part? Hey,
I was trying
oh my
to,
God.
I was giving you a moment.
I'm just looking at all the cool people up in here. What's up? What's up? My mama, my uncle, my coworkers, my friends.
Hi, Mama.
Hi, Dubai. Hi, New York. Hi, London. Dubai, New York, and London in the house.
I was starting all warm, and I'm like, all right, I already know she's gonna get me going. So let me just take it easy, you know, take a deep breath, you know.
Yes.
I already knew it. I was like, the energy was coming.
Oh my God, I miss you guys too. I miss Dubai. Hi, Chef. Hi, y'all.
The whole gang is here.
I gotta have a conversation with you, but now I'm reading the comments like I missed them.
Hey guys, now you have me focus on the comments too.
And look at my mom.
My God,
this is guys. Like, hi, Jess.
All right, so this is going to be so amazing. Yes, energy's in the room, and that's even more reason why I really want to have this conversation
mucho
with
gusto
you.
y muchas gracias. Bienvenidos.
All right, Jalila, bring it back. Focus. Let's get to it. We have so much to talk about today, and there's so much to cover. So I want us to be as open as we can be, you know, be respectful to your space and what you've gone through. But it's going to be such an, I'm just so excited how I have questions. I have questions.
Hi, yes, let's go.
So, once again, thank you. Thank you for doing this because on a serious note, I know this is something that you're still going through. It's a recent thing for you to even, you know, be diagnosed with breast cancer and then and move towards a recovery point at this stage. So it's still sensitive. You're still going through it. So thank you for even wanting to share this story with us, or, you know, and opening up yourself and being vulnerable. So. Okay. All right. So on that note, we're just gonna get to it, right? So in my questions. Okay. First of all, what were you diagnosed with?
Okay, in Dubai, actually on December 15th, 2019, was diagnosed with stage 2, grade 2 invasive ductal carcinoma with lobular features. So the most common breast cancer diagnosis is ductal carcinoma, and a rare form of breast cancer is lobular cancer. So I was technically diagnosed with ductal carcinoma with lobular features.
Okay. So in layman terms, is there a way to simplify that?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with the most common, it's in the breast ducts. But the lobular features usually affect people who have already gone through menopause. So there were some features that were showing, and the problem with lobular is that it has a higher chance of recurrence than ductal. So there were some lobular features, but thank God that it was ductal, it wasn't lobular. It was just had lobular features, yeah.
So you just said something. You said that it's something that you would normally get, like if you've gone through menopause. So,
Right.
so for
Yeah. So
you, yeah.
lobular usually affects those who are have already gone through menopause already. Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, you don't have to answer this, but you haven't gone through menopause.
No, but some of the treatment provided, which we'll get to later, especially if your cancer is hormonal, it goes through like a medical menopause. So the medication that you're supposed to take for maybe 8 to 10 years, it's called tamoxifen. If you are diagnosed with a hormonal breast cancer, it puts you through a forced menopause, which your menstrual cycle will return once you're off of your hormonal treatment to treat the cancer from recurring.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't think I even knew that part. That's a
Yes.
lot to digest there. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So how did you even know or find out that you have breast cancer? Was it
Okay.
like a lump? Well, yeah.
Right. So, obviously, I came home from work one day. I was teaching fitness in Dubai. I came home from work one day and I was like, oh my God, I'm experiencing severe pain in my breast, right? And ironically, which I found out later, is if you are experiencing pain in your breast, it's actually a good sign that it's not cancer. And it's a sign that it's a fibroadenoma or a cyst in the breast. So I kept touching my breast and I was like, oh my God, what is this pain? What is this sharp, sharp pain? And it lasted for about 2 weeks that November. And I was like, it's happening every single day. And I called my mom. I said to my mom, I'm like, Mom, what is going on? I'm experiencing pain in the breast. And like many of us, I was a little bit hesitant to go to the doctor. Even though I was insured, honey, why is that? Why won't we go to the doctor? We just don't
Because
want to go.
don't even, I had this question last
Why
session.
won't
I
we
was
go to
like,
the doctor?
because do they know
Exactly.
us? Do they get
Something's
us?
hurting, go to the doctor. But for us, we're like, oh no, we'll take care of it. I'm young. So it was so excruciating that I went to take a shower and the hot water was even hurting me. So I was like, okay, no, this is crazy and this has gone on for too long. I went to my OBGYN in JLT. Shout out to JLT. I don't know where you are anymore, Jess. Are you in JLT anymore? No. Okay. So I went to
Don't quote my location, please. Thank you.
I went to my OBGYN. She said, yeah, you're feeling a little lumpy. Why don't we do a sonogram? So I went to go to take a sonogram test maybe a week later. And she said, okay, it looks like cysts. It's good that you were in pain. And then she went on my right breast, then she did my left breast. When she went over my left breast, she said, okay, it's still looking cystic. I see some fibroadenomas, which are similar to fibroids, but in the breast. And as she was going over it, it was hurting. And then she stopped. And she said, I do see something that looks a little bit strange. And she said, how old are you? I said, I think I was 32. I 32 because I'm 21 now, so I can't really remember my age. Anyway, I think I was 32 at the time. And I said, she said, okay, you're young. It's nothing. She's like, this little lump right here, it's not making a perfect oval or circular shape. It has a little squiggly, and those we're usually cautious of. Why don't we send you for an MRI? Okay, so my OBGYN calls me, and she sounded a little bit more alarmed than I did. And she was like, okay, they found something, and they want you to proceed to getting an MRI. But the sonographer, she said, sonogram technician, let's go with that. She said, oh, it's nothing, but the OBGYN seemed a little bit more alarmed. So if I'm correct, it's called, there's a BRAD scale. There's something called BRADs where you have 1 through 6. And by the time 6 meaning that you most likely have cancer, 1 meaning it's just a fibroid, it's not malignant. So by the time I finished the sonogram test, I was at BRADs 4. So there was even, I think it was a 20 to 40% chance that this tumor that they found could be cancerous. So it was still low. I went to get an MRI, and they upgraded from the MRI my BRAD scale to BRADS 5, meaning that it's now a 90% chance that that tumor that they found in my left breast was cancerous. I called my mom. I said, Mom, we got a problem. And this was now in December 7th, and they said, we're going to need to do your first surgery, which is going to be a biopsy. It's a minor surgery. You don't have anesthesia or anything like that. But I went to go do my biopsy, and my mom flew out there the day before my first biopsy surgery. I'm trying to remember the type of biopsy I had. I can't remember, Mom, if you could just write in, she'll just tell you what it was. But I had a biopsy, and lo and behold, the tumor was malignant. And that was on December 15th. I was officially diagnosed with stage 2, grade 2, ductal carcinoma with lobular features.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I wouldn't even know what I think I would have just froze in that moment, like, what is going on in life right now?
Right.
Oh, bless you.
I mean, to be honest with you, I felt like intuitively I knew something was wrong.
Okay.
And before that biopsy, I had a feeling. As soon as they found the lump, because I don't know why. I said, let me go get this checked, because like I said, I'm not the type of person that frequents the doctor. And something told me, go get checked, Julia. This something in your body isn't right. And when you have that feeling in your system, go, guys, because we all have that intuitive and that innate feeling that something could be wrong. So by the time I actually received the diagnosis from the doctor, he actually responded like this: you know it's cancer, right? I swear, that's what happened. My mom and I went in to go sit down at Al-Zahra Hospital, and by the time, at this point, once he got the biopsy back, he said, okay, well, you know what the results are. And to be honest, between you, me, and God, I did know. I knew what he was going to say. I knew
felt it in your gut.
Yeah, something told me, and so actually, to be honest with you, I wasn't shocked. And instead, my heart and soul said, okay, let's prepare and let's start our journey to heal. I feel like the most I was shut down was when we found a lump. Yeah, but after that, from the biopsy, from the MRI, and once my mom got there, things started to change. And the worst part about it is, when I felt the most alone was when I didn't share, when I didn't tell anybody, when nobody knew what was going on, and I was just trying to teach my bar classes, and what do we have? I think we had a Thanksgiving thing at your house that year. I was just trying to act like everything was okay. And it's so funny because Tess said to me, she said, I totally felt like you weren't okay. And this is when I wasn't sharing with anyone that they found something. But the moment I got that diagnosis, the moment I said, you know what, I'm going to start telling people, it definitely changed my experience and my journey through healing.
Why do we do that? Why do we, like, I'm very similar too. Like, I need to process things first. I need to, like, get my thoughts and the plan in order, and then I'm like, okay, I can tell people now. Why do we do that? Why? It's like, we know we have a village around us, but we still in some way need to go through it by ourselves. Like, why do you think you did that?
No, yeah, that's
at the beginning.
Part of it. I think that there's also a part of us as adults that have the fear of vulnerability, right? That's something that we speak to right now, and especially when it comes to mental health, especially after this year of COVID, there's this fear with adults that, one, we have to be strong, one, we should not express pain, and the last one is that it's very hard to express and share your vulnerability with others. You don't want to show weakness, right?
Yeah.
And then you also are not necessarily prepared to answer all of the questions that come with a diagnosis like this, because I don't have all the answers, and maybe receiving those questions would feel overwhelming for me, and I wouldn't be. That's when I probably start to break down, because I don't even know.
You just don't know.
And lastly, because I don't know if you've suffered through loss in your life, but I
Yeah,
have,
I have.
I'm not able to yet receive other people's pain from my diagnosis. I'm not ready to receive that,
Because you're
and
going
then they're
through it,
crying,
so
and
it's
then,
like you can't absorb theirs either.
right, right,
That's real though.
right,
It's real.
right,
It's like, how do I console you when I'm going through it?
right.
And it's not like you're trying to be rude, or or you just like, I need to figure it
Right.
out. Like,
Right.
how do I?
And I think that once I had more information and the exactitudes of what was going on, I was able to share, and it almost felt like I was able to release and just kind of let it go. But in those moments that it's like, oh, it's a tumor, but we're not sure if it's cancerous, but there is a tumor there. I didn't want to share with anybody because I didn't know and I didn't have answers. And
Yeah.
if I could go back in time, probably with my close friends, I would say, look, and now I'm just thinking of how I could have communicated it. Look, they found something, but they don't know. Maybe that would have taken a weight off of my shoulders, because I do feel a weight was lifted once I decided to share.
Because that kind of puts the period in the follow-up questions, because you
Right.
don't know. So what are they following up about? Because
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next question, because this is getting good, girl. All right, so surviving breast cancer is a victory, but there's so much post-healing work, right? Which is what you're going through at the moment. So to be done. So what has been your journey towards healing?
Whew. Okay, so journey towards healing. So after my diagnosis, first thing they did was my surgery, which was a lumpectomy, which is where they remove the tumor, a sentinel lymph node biopsy, which is where they check the lymph nodes, and this is how they determine the stage. They check the lymph nodes to see if the cancer has spread to other parts of your body. That's how it changes from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3 to stage 4. So stage 4, that means cancer has spread outside of the breast. And I'm no doctor, guys, so I'm just telling you guys what I've learned from my experience, but I hope that I'm correct. If there's any doctors who are on the live. So
Yes,
it's spread,
please go speak with a doctor. This
right.
is personal experience. Personal experience.
Period.
Please speak with a
Okay.
professional. They would know best.
Right. So, from what I understand, stage 4 and stage 3, the cancer has now spread to other locations outside of the breast. It's not localized, and that's a term that I heard. So, lumpectomy, remove the tumor. Sentinel lymph node biopsy to see if it spread underneath my arm. They removed 5 lymph nodes from underneath my arm. We have lymph nodes all over our body, but more specifically, they checked underneath the arms because that's the first place cancer would spread to. And then the Wednesday before my Saturday surgery, they found a benign tumor in my uterus. So I'm sitting in there with my mom, and I said, Mom, why don't we just get rid of all of these tumors? Because the doctor said, by having this tumor here, you're not going to be able to reproduce. You're gonna have trouble having kids. So why don't we remove the tumor in your uterus as well? And mind you, I just want to be clear, benign means non-cancerous, malignant means cancerous. So the tumor in my uterus was benign, okay? So they removed, it was a 5.5-hour surgery, and they removed the tumor in my breast, the lymph nodes, and then they removed the tumor in my uterus. The tumor in my breast was malignant, cancerous. The tumor in my uterus was benign, no cancer. After that, I was in the hospital maybe 5 days, and most of you guys have seen my journey now. From there, they want to wait to see if you have strength back in your arm, like you're numb a little bit. So it's very hard to lift your arm, to reach, to do anything. So they had to wait till I was able to put my arms over my head before I moved on with the next step towards healing, which was radiation. I chose against chemotherapy. It was suggested, but there were a couple of tests that I didn't have or didn't complete to see if it was even necessary for my body.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, chemotherapy was what I was trying to avoid of everything, because There's so many side effects to chemotherapy, not only internally but externally. For example, limiting your chance to reproduce, losing your hair. It was just a lot.
You
So
weren't
I
ready
just
to
was trying to
take that chance.
right. So now I said, let's start with radiation. If that's still not working, then I will finally, if I have to, do chemotherapy. So technically, I was supposed to start radiation March 16th, 2020. Who remembers what happened then in Dubai?
COVID!
Our shutdown.
Ching, ching.
Our shutdown. So I was coming back from London, and I came to Dubai, and everything got shut down. And I actually was feeling a little bit sick. So I said to my mom, I said, should I go to the hospital and take a COVID test? Because we didn't know too much about COVID. And I just like, my throat hurts, so I have COVID too. So I went to the hospital. They had me do a forced quarantine for 10 days, and I did not have COVID. So I was locked in a room, the same hospital I just had my surgery in a month ago, locked in a room, couldn't leave. They would not let me leave because they said, you might have COVID, we have to be careful. Thank God I didn't. And so anyway, radiation wound up beginning in April. Okay, so we were in a lockdown still. The roads were closed. Obviously, you guys remember, my friends are in Dubai. You guys are in Dubai now. And where I had to do radiation, living in Dubai, was in Abu Dhabi. For those of you who want a geographical context, it's about an hour away. From
hour and a half,
Dubai.
yeah.
It was about an hour drive. So I wasn't I didn't go into Abu Dhabi. It's like right before you enter. So I drove about 60 minutes every single day to do a 5-minute radiation treatment to my breast. And I had to do that about, I think we did 21 rounds. So you have an option between doing 15 rounds and 30 rounds. After I finished and completed the 15th round, they said, we want to do a couple more just to be sure. So I wound up having to do 21 rounds of radiation, which, if you see the pictures on my page, completely burned my breast. The skin peeled off from underneath my arm all the way about to my rib cage. And it causes scar tissue damage, but they're trying to also radiate the cancer so that it doesn't return. There is a small chance, though, by doing radiation that you can have cancer reoccur to that same exact place, but they're just trying to take as many preventative measures as they can. So I finished 21 rounds of radiation at the Gulf Cancer Center during quarantine. So, and I want to describe quarantine. It was a shutdown, right, y'all? We were not allowed to leave our house. Remember, we could barely get groceries. If we had to walk outside, it was just to the grocery store, back to the house, and you needed to tell the cop outside. If he stopped us, right? You had to tell the cop if he stopped us. He was like, where are you going? And you'd have to say, I just need to go get some water. You need to get this. Also, the roads were blocked, so there was checkpoints. So when we were driving to the Gulf Cancer Center, I needed to have a pass on my car every day to drive to and from. So when they had the checkpoints, they said, okay, she's going to the cancer center. She has to be out. Because if you were out on the road, you would get in a lot of trouble during this time because they're trying to take preventative measures to stop the spread of COVID. Simultaneously, people who are going through their cancer treatment have to get up and have to get out. So once I finished those rounds, I think I was done May 17th. You got to wait about 60 days before you started hormonal treatment. And the type of cancer I had was estrogen and progesterone positive. So it was hormonal, and I had to start a pill called tamoxifen, which is what causes that menopause, and that the medical menopause, and that I'm supposed to take for 8 to 10 years. From there, in June, end of June 2020, I moved back to the States. I left my job, moved back to New York with my mom to continue my journey through healing. We found a breast center here, and the way you're received in the United States is completely different, because I noticed that on my team of doctors, and you get a team of doctors when you are diagnosed with cancer. In Dubai, my oncology team was primarily male, there was one female, and that was a very different experience having them touch your breast. And I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible here, but I mean, they really are touching, they have to grab the nipple, they have to grab the areola, they have to touch around your breast. And that was definitely a very new experience. And also trying to have them to relate to something that they can't relate to because they're men and they're men and I'm a woman. So it's very hard for them to even understand how I'm feeling.
Delina, did you find that that was the only difference? Because there is a drastic difference between like the Western world and so on. So like that it was more male doctors, or was there anything else? Like in practice, the questions they asked, like
no, I mean, actually they were really cool, but they were not very sensitive. And I also feel like there's this like pride or this public and proud energy of having breast cancer in the States. Like you see women are just like, look, this is my journey, I'm a warrior, and they're just loud and proud about it.
Yeah.
As opposed to my experience with other people who were diagnosed with cancer in Dubai, it was very quiet. It was very, we're not gonna really talk about it. Actually, the most it was discussed was at my job, because I worked with all women at the time, and they would just shower their love on me. I mean, it was crazy. They would make, I could cry about it, but they would tell me their stories.
I will cry with you, girl.
Yeah,
like,
they would tell me their stories and their journeys, and whether they experienced cancer or whatever, the most personal stories, things that you would never believe. That was their safe space, or our safe space at work, because it was mainly towards women. But in the hospital, in the oncology center, in the cancer center, people who were diagnosed with cancer, it was very difficult. And you can see that people were trying to remain private and almost isolated, kind of the feeling that I discussed with you at the beginning. So I think that was very difficult, as opposed to being here and going to the hospitals in the States. All of my doctors here have been women, and there's something called the breast center, and they are just like, they hug you, they give you mugs, they give you gifts, like they're just constantly encouraging and motivating, like, you did it, you've done it. Like, so I think that has been the difference here.
And I think, and I think a support system beyond your immediate friends, because you know they're gonna love you, they're gonna pour into you and your family as well. Knowing that there's someone else who's going through it, or who has gone through it, that you can talk to, lean on, which is why I'm so proud of you for even wanting to share your story and opening up yourself in this way, because we need to do more of that, you know, because everyone's fighting similar fights by themselves, when we can be a community and kind of lean on each other. So when you're about to fall, someone catches you, and vice versa. So
100%.
But please continue. Finish telling me.
Oh, healing, right? Okay. I think that it's also made me recognize that it's not just the physical work, or should I say the medical work. There is a spiritual aspect to it, whoever you believe in. There's this spiritual and powerful journey that you have to take once you receive that diagnosis, because your soul needs to be strong to prepare yourself for what's about to happen. So I think that, and I like to speak to, and I have my off and on moments with prayer and meditation. I noticed that prior to my surgery, I would find a release in working out or going to the gym and just having a moment where it's just me and my body and whatever. But there were moments, especially during before my surgery, especially before my radiation, where I just had to sit by my balcony, close my eyes, and meditate, and just say, God, take away the fear, bring the faith, bring the healing. And it was just repetitive every single morning. And I mean, sometimes I would be there for hours, like, and my mom would be like, don't disturb her, she's meditating. Now, in this journey through healing, because sometimes you have good days and bad days, that's the real, I completely stopped praying, completely stopped meditating. There's days that you're just angry, like, why me, right? The why me. So I definitely would like to be, during this journey, much more consistent. And I don't think that it needs to take pain to make you pray. Pain shouldn't make you pray. Pain shouldn't make you meditate. Anger shouldn't make you meditate. Wanting something from the universe shouldn't make you pray, meditate, and believe or have faith, right? It should just come naturally. And I think that that's definitely been one of my lessons in my journey through healing. Ooh, honey, did you?
Girl, you done did that. Like, I was like,
She better close.
now. Oh my God. Like, honestly, like, the fact that you can stay so positive, you know,
Woo!
like, we hear the stories, we see the PSAs and so on, but this side of it, right? Like, your energy and how you're staying so positive through everything. Oh,
Thank you.
because I can just see, if I was in your shoes, I would probably be a mess in the corners, like, you got this girl, but crying to myself, like in fetal position. So,
Right.
like, I'm just, oh, girl.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I love you guys.
Touched my
Thank you,
spirit.
everybody. They're feeling it. They're feeling it. I'm with you guys. See, you
All right, but actually, you kind of segued into my next question, actually. So it was about, like, did you feel your body betrayed you, right? You know, like, you're into fitness, you take care of yourself, you eat healthy, you do the right things. Do you feel that your body betrayed you? And if so, how did you get to love and care for your body again? How did you forgive it?
I mean, we spoke to this a little bit, but I definitely feel like I would never say that I feel like my body betrayed me, right? You can't, cancer doesn't happen because you make it happen. I didn't make cancer happen. Cancer came into my body. Obviously, it was hormone related. And it's also challenged me to find something we as women speak to all the time, that self-love, right? It actually has made me love myself more, in the sense that, girl, you push through this and you're alive, first of all. You're alive. You're healing, and your body's ready to take on the world. And let's say you did get cancer, which I did get cancer, your body healed. So if anything, I have to just love my body for the fact that it pushed through and it fought with me. It fought with my soul. I'm gonna get upset for a second, sorry. It fought with me, and it believed in its power to heal. And I was able to heal, and I can only love my body for that. I can't be angry for what has happened. I could be happy and love myself for even continuing to push on, you know? So I definitely got to give myself some love, and you guys got to give your body some love all day and night, you know? So I'm definitely proud of my body for going through this journey and wanting to fight and wanting to heal and wanting to keep me alive.
And I'm proud of your body. I'm proud of your willpower to keep going, because the odds were against you and you pushed through. You pushed through, and I'm so proud of you and your body.
Thank you.
You hear me?
Yeah. So definitely not angry with myself, and it's definitely made me love myself more. It's definitely made me feel like I care less about what other people think about me, what other people feel about how I look and my physical appearance, because especially coming from a fitness background, that's something that I spoke to and cared about so much, like how I'm being perceived, right? So this is maybe one of the first times in my life I was able to say, none of that matters. I'm proud of you, Jalila. I'm proud of your body. I'm proud of who you are, and I'm proud of you for fighting. So whatever anyone else has to say, it doesn't really matter. I love you. And in order for you to receive the truest love, the realest love, it's only going to come because you love yourself.
Oh, you are just like, is she talking to you just, I don't even know how to articulate myself right now. You just, ooh.
And I think that's something that I
blessing.
learned through this journey. I think that's definitely something that I learned through this journey, for sure.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm gonna
Ooh,
segue. I don't
sorry,
want you to
y'all.
cry.
I don't
These
have any tissues in here. I'm like
I,
trying to
I
keep
want
this
to pass
face
you one
together
through the
now.
phone. Like, oh, you still look cute though,
Woo!
girl.
Thank you.
You look blessed and hydrated.
Oh, thank
Hmm.
you. Amen. It's the ring light. Don't let it fool you now.
That's that melanin, baby.
Oh my God.
All right,
I
so
love you guys. Thanks. Look at them. They're all writing in. I
we
love
are
you
getting.
so
Look at
much.
this. Like they're happy. You're
Y'all
here.
got
Stay
me
true
on
to
damn
who you are and never
Instagram
changing
crying
you though.
now. Jesus Lord. Okay, here we go.
Happy tears. Happy tears. Oh God, I would probably join you in a minute. Okay. So next question that I have for you, right? And I think this one is actually important because as we called out earlier, I am a friend of yours, right? And one of the things that I'm conscious of in general with anyone is understanding space. Understanding like what like depending on how close I am to that friend or I navigate differently, but more or less, I give people their space and allow them to breathe and come to me when they feel. That may be right, that may be wrong, depending on the person. So I'm actually interested in that because that was a part of your experience that you touched on, right? So when people are pouring love into you, right? You have family and friends pouring love into you and trying to support you, but at the end of the day, like you're the one who's going through the experience. We spoke on this actually a moment ago. You kind of alluded to that. Like
Okay.
what do you feel like? What does it feel like for you when you're receiving that and like you're getting their way of showing love is probably asking the questions and and trying to be there for you and feed you and just kind of be in your company. Like
So like
yeah.
what would I have liked as far as support
Yeah.
from my support system? I think that that's a really, really great question. I feel like when something like cancer comes up, no matter what age, no matter who you are, or something life or death, right? We immediately, as your supporters, want to have the solution, want to have the answers, want to stay positive for you, right? So I feel like instead of that, I just wanted you to hear, I wanted my friends to hear me, right? I cannot be bombarded with so many questions. Yes, obviously, I'm sharing my story. I'm giving it to social media for people who are also experiencing the same thing. I definitely feel like someone who is not going through an illness or someone who is not familiar with the experience for themselves, they had a lot of questions for me, right? Even when I'm in the hospital, even when I'm going through radiation, there were definitely a lot of questions, but I definitely needed them to just listen for a second. And I definitely needed the space to be vulnerable. I feel like, if I'm very honest, I constantly during that time was like, and not all of it was real. It was not all real. That's happy because I felt like my friends needed that from me and I couldn't give them the space where I could just cry and break down, right? There was a moment I talked with you about this earlier, right after my first surgery. They said, one of my friends said, are you going to do the chemo? Are you going to do the chemo? You need to do the chemo. You have to live, right? But they didn't want to hear the reasons why I was so against it. They thought that it was almost even superficial. I said, yeah, well, I'm going to lose all my hair. I'm not going to be able to reproduce. I'm not going to. So you can adopt. Your hair will grow back. But so you're not hearing my fears. You're not hearing why I feel vulnerable, why I'm in pain, what I'm afraid of, why it's attacking me emotionally. You're trying to find a solution when I just need you to listen. So I think that moving forward, when someone says, you know, if you are a friend or someone that is supporting someone going through something like this, just provide a listening ear and maybe be a little bit more sensitive to what they're saying and not necessarily constantly look for the answers. We don't have the answers. God, the universe, they have the answers. Our doctors hopefully have the answers. But when you are supporting someone who's going through an illness, just listen.
Yeah.
Listen, and maybe let's find moments to laugh, right? Let's find happy things to talk about, right? But I think most importantly, provide me and provide the person you're supporting with a safe space for them to be sensitive, for them to be vulnerable, for them to cry, and not feel like they have to hold it in and put a smile on for you. Ooh, sorry. As I'm
I
talking to
hope,
you,
hope
I'm
it
like,
didn't come through. I just got the
I'm
F-bomb just
really
now. I was
like,
like,
as I'm talking to you, like I really am feeling what I'm saying because it's something that I've experienced and something that I wanted from some people that I was going through. When I was really going through that journey, something that I wanted from some, you know. So I hope that people who are listening, and especially people who are are suffering from a diagnosis, really understand that and feel that they can communicate that to their friends. Because why also that holds me accountable. Why didn't I tell them, look, I just need you to listen. Be there and listen.
and I think to your point, it goes both ways. I think we sometimes I use the term is that I use the term I'm not a mind reader. I need you to tell me sometimes because I might miss the beat. Yeah. So that goes both ways. That there, even though I'm not a mind reader, there's still certain things I should just know. And
Right.
one of those things is when someone's going through something, listen to what they're going through. But on the flip side, if create an environment where you can open up, right? And I think Julie, we spoke about this, that I'm very similar to you, where I can kind of be a little bit bottled up, and like I'll speak to you when I speak to you about it, but then it's not fair to the person who's just trying to love me and be
Right.
there for me, important to
Right.
me. So it's
Right.
a two-way street of understanding that I need to listen as your friend
Right.
and be patient with you as you try to articulate what you're feeling, what you're thinking, but at the same time, when you're ready, feel comfortable enough to actually talk.
Yeah, and with trauma, and this is what one of those things where I say it kind of goes back to loss, right? So when my father passed away or when my grandmother passed away, I was thinking, what could I do? How could I have fixed it? Where was I to blame, right? So I definitely understood that the person on the receiving end of my illness, which is a life-threatening illness, is like, how can I fix it? I could even see it in my mom's face. I could see it in my friend's face. What can I do? I'm thinking of Tess as well. Like, let me take you to the hospital. Let me introduce you to this person. Because they want you to be fixed. No one wants you to be in pain. No one wants you to have a life-threatening illness. And the first thing we do as human beings, especially with someone we love, is we want to fix it,
Yeah.
right? We
We're
want to fix it.
fixers.
So I totally comprehended the eagerness to want me to be better. And they wanted to know that they contributed to that. And God bless them, and I'm so grateful for it. But there are moments with everybody that I touch or with everybody that I had a conversation with, especially the moments I was in the hospital, where I just needed you to hear, this really hurts me. Like, there was a lady in the hospital with me when they were removing my stitches, and she said, you're strong, don't cry. You're strong, don't cry. You're strong. And I wanted to cry. I was looking at my mom. I'm like, this shit hurts. This hurts. But she was making me feel that I couldn't cry and I couldn't express that. So I just need a little bit more sensitivity and compassion to the fact that this is my journey, and I just need you to be there. And I know you want me to be strong, and I'm going to be as strong as I can be. But if it hurts, it hurts. And allow that space too. If I'm sad, I'm sad, and allow that too. If I'm angry, I'm angry. Allow that too. It's not just going to be happy all the time. And that's as real as I can keep it.
That is as real as it can get. Period. Like I'm like, you're getting me emotional on this. I didn't think. Wow. No, I mean, this is this is real, right? And this is why I want to have that conversation, because we don't always like I've experienced death, and I've experienced a few different things in my life, and there's people on the line now who probably can say the same thing. But at the same time too, we tend to quickly forget once we've kind of healed from whatever we've gone through, and then now we're witnessing someone else that we love go through it, and we just want to pile on, like, but our thought is like, oh yeah, going back to like the death example, I've gone through multiple deaths in my life. I've healed from it in various ways, and then when I have other friends who've experienced the same thing, the first thing I want to do is forget about what I went through and like how I just needed my time, but more so
Yeah.
like, I've went through it, let me show you how I've healed from it.
Right, right,
Let me tell you the steps you need to take to
right,
get better.
right.
But the reality is that no one's the same. Everyone heals differently. Everyone deals with things differently. So how, like, you can't tell. All you can honestly do is just be there.
Right. 100%.
Oh, that was amazing. Okay. Okay, girl. All right. Thank you for this. I'm loving this conversation right
This
now.
is
Guys, if you have
bringing
any
up
questions,
feelings, honey. I'm in all the feels right now.
and I love it.
Is
I
it
love
happy hour yet? What
vulnerability.
time is it? I know it's happy hour where y'all are. Jesus. Woo, honey.
Your day's
Y'all
getting
bringing
started,
up
girls. Almost lunchtime.
feelings.
Okay. If you guys
Girl.
have any questions, because please put them in the comment box. We'll definitely try to address them, or in the
Yes.
Q
Any
and
questions?
A feature that has like the chat box at the bottom of the
Yes.
screen. Okay. So I'm laughing already. I already know how this reads, but there's more context to it. Okay. So you were diagnosed with breast cancer. You're on this journey of recovery. So your life has changed, but overall, as a person, how has your life changed?
Oh. How has my life changed? Without cursing, I have been a little bit more effort, a little bit more carefree, a little bit more fearless, and a little bit more selfish. And I say that like things I would think twice about, I do it. If I really want to do something, if there's really something that I set my mind to, and I'm like, look, I want to do this. And I probably, prior to my diagnosis, be hesitant about it, rethink it. I'm just going to do it. If I want to go somewhere and I ask my friends to come with me and then someone cancels, you know how you would say, okay, well then I'm going to cancel too. I'm just not going to go. I
Mm-hmm.
go. I go. I'm also able to do a lot more alone. I think that also comes from obviously all of our experiences. I'm talking to my Dubai people now of living abroad, leaving your family, and just going for something. So we've all always had it in us, right? But now I think that my diagnosis almost ignited that. Like, y'all can't tell me nothing. You can't. I'm going to do it. If there's something that I really want to do, I'm going to do it. And point blank period, hashtag, I'm going to live. I'm going to live my best life while I have the time I do have here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to think about what you think about it. I'm not going to think about your opinions of it. I'm going to do it. And I
Oh,
think
I
that
love
that's
that.
definitely how my life has changed.
And I think more people should live that way, right? Like,
100%.
like just live. Like you have one
Live.
life.
And I mean live. I mean like live your best life. Enjoy yourself. We have a limited time here, whether it's 1 year or 100 years. It's still short to how long, to the time span Earth has been here, right? Like we have a very short period of time to be here. And unfortunately, I had to get sick to realize the value of my life. And my message to all those who are still here and to all of us who are still present, know the value of your life and live it. If there are things that you really want to do, get them done. Don't say you want to do it and then it never happens. Have the integrity to yourself. Integrity to
Yes.
yourself also comes with that love of self, right? So it comes back to that self-love. You're here for a very short period of time. Live your life. Do the things you really want to do.
All right. Well, you know
Don't
what?
take a second for granted. Exactly.
I want to go bungee
Spending
jumping. I
or
think I'll do that in two.
exactly. Don't take anything for granted. Let's live.
No. I think that is the way to be, and I'm actually proud that you've gotten there. Because I've
Yes.
always looked at you as someone. Yes, you are selfless in the way that you give to your friends. You break your back to make other people happy. But I've also equally thought that you were the person who would just do, but to come to find out that like actually you hesitated on these things, and now you're
100%.
just like in a effort state of mind. Like,
100%.
can I say? Am I aging myself? Can I say yellow?
Can you say YOLO?
Yeah. Am I aging myself?
You can say YOLO, girl. I don't
Live
know
your
about
life, girl.
it.
Live your life.
YOLO. Let's go.
Yellow.
YOLO, exactly. Everybody YOLO. Let's just YOLO
Yellow.
for today.
I'm bringing it back. Okay.
Exactly.
So, um, have one final question, and then like I said,
Okay.
guys, if you have any questions, please add it in the comment
I'm
box. We'll
scared,
address them.
Jess. I'm actually scared.
No, no, no. This one is a good one. I promise. It's a good closing question. Okay.
Okay.
So, what would you say to those who are dealing with breast cancer or are going through their recovery process right now?
Okay. Oof. What would I say? Um, I definitely, and I'm going to kind of close it with how I opened it. I found that when I didn't share my journey and no one knew about my experience, that's when I felt the most shut down and the most alone. I think that is very important, especially with all of the resources we have, whether you're in Dubai or whether you're here in the United States, find your support system. And I mean, you're blessed to have your friends and family. But for those of you who don't, there's so many resources and there's so many outlets to find someone who's gone through an experience that you are currently going through, and do not feel alone. Finally, I would say try to find a moment, a space, preferably in the morning when you open your eyes, and just be still and recognize that you made it another day, that you're alive. And what can you do with that? And what can you do with your day to help yourself live a little bit more? So yes, of course, we have to go through radiation. We have to see our doctors. There are going to be some medical things that take up our day. But what other things can you do in that day to make sure you had a great day, that you feel gratitude for that day, that you felt like you lived that day? Also find a moment and space and time in your day to just find stillness and reassure and affirm that you are healing and that the universe has your back.
You just like ended on like a exclamation mark on a statement. Period. No, I think that's actually good feedback. But I think your mom actually in the comment said something about a group that was here in the UAE. I think what I would like to do is try to start highlighting these organizations within the
100.
UAE that people can go to and connect with. So, do you have any in mind that you would love to reference?
I don't. As I said, fortunately for me, the company that I was working for was all women. So
Okay.
at my job and my clients and the group and my support system, that was super huge. And my friends group. And finally, like I said, I was fortunate enough to have my mom there. There were recommendations. And when you go to the hospital, specifically in Dubai, they have a whole list of support groups. I think I remember, and this is going to sound so funny, Al Jalila Foundation.
I think that was meant for you, girl.
In Dubai, I think Al Jalila Foundation was a support group for people going through breast cancer. I really feel it, and literally how my name is spelled, Al Jalila Foundation. But those of you who are diagnosed, you just ask your oncology team or your team of doctors, and they will get you sorted with a group. And I mean, the more you vocalize it, the more you see people going through it, they will send you to this person. I mean, there's resources out there everywhere if you take it. And I suggest to my friends going through this experience that you take it and you don't isolate yourself. You don't, go through those emotions and go through this process alone. And you're not alone.
Speak
I mean,
up.
if you have me, just message me. I'm here. You know, there's so
Jalila
many
Jones
resources.
on Instagram.
Yes, thank you.
DM her, people.
Yeah,
No, but I think we definitely in the UAE specifically, we need to start highlighting and finding these organizations. I will give the UAE this. There's more and more organizations popping up. There's more conversations being had about breast cancer and breast cancer awareness. So I think over time we want to start. If I need to be a part of that solution, so be it. Where we create resources for this, because this is such an important conversation, and like you and another friend of mine has experienced breast cancer, and I think it's closer to home, so it's a real personal conversation for me, and I really want to make sure that we are doing our part in ensuring that we're getting information out to the people. But
100%.
that is all the questions that I have for you. You have dropped a lot of gems. You have given me so much energy right now. Like,
Oh
I
my
swear to God, I
God.
think before this, I probably could have taken a nap. Okay.
No,
Uh,
I definitely feel like I needed this. I'm so happy I did this. I'm so happy to see how many people joined, and look at my uncle, he's writing in, everybody's
Hi,
writing in.
Uncle.
You know, I definitely feel like cancer, breast cancer, illness is something we all can relate to, whether it's affecting us personally or affecting someone that we love. So I think that this is an excellent platform, especially this month, to open and have this discussion. Chev says, did I find strength from vlogging about the experience? 100%, especially obviously living in the Middle East, receiving the DMs that I was received, and a lot of the women saying, thank you for being able to share this, because I really would not have when I went through my journey. And then them continuing to explain to me what they went through, the doctors. I mean, I would not have found the doctors that I found if I didn't take this to Instagram, by the way. So
Wow.
yes, absolutely.
Closed
I
mouths don't get
100%.
fed.
And just even speaking to people around the world who have gone through something similar. Once I shared my journey, someone DM'd it to somebody else, and then it created a kind of an Instagram or social media platform / community. So that's a great question, Chev.
Awesome. Is there any other questions for Jalila before we let her go and leave her? But you're leaving
Thank
us
you
with
guys so
amazing,
much.
positive energy.
Thank
Like
you, everybody. Thank you
your
for
beam
taking this
of bright
time to
light.
even listen. Outside of your performance in the Nutcracker, what is your outside of your performance in the
Your
Nutcracker
performance.
is what is your most performance? Is thank you. Oh, this is I don't know. I don't know. Thank you. Thank you.
I hope you posted questions.
Thank you.
Amazing. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Jalila, so much. I really enjoyed today's conversation. I think a
Oh,
lot of
yes,
people
thank you.
have
Thank you,
taken so much
everybody.
from it.
Thank you, everybody around the world. We have people from so many different places here, so this is so
Ah!
awesome. All the different time zones, sending you guys so much love. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I'm so grateful for y'all. Have the best Wednesday ever.
Take care. Bye, Jalila.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.